Alright, hey everyone, back for a quick video, just getting ready to grind up some beef to make dinner. I just got back from a gig and the guys had eye appointments, so they're out, they're picking up an activity tracking ring, so they had to go to Manchester, so they won't be back for a little while. But I have an update, so I've been wanting to update you guys on this little health issue. I thought this would be a good time to do it. As I said, at the last video, I had an eye appointment, and I had some appointments. So one of them was an eye appointment on Monday, and then I had a follow-up with my PCP on some medication that I am trying. I have to basically try some medication to see if it's working, because I am a migraine sufferer and I also deal with vertigo. And vertigo, I've been dealing with that ever since our daughter was like 6 months old, and it's been kind of a pain. And I'd been okay. They got it pretty well nipped in the bud a few years ago, and I'm on medication to help that, but it had come back this year. The vertigo was really bad, constant, and like a constant buzzing. And the thing is my doctor feels that the migraines that I had been waking up with were causing the vertigo. So she tried physical therapy. The physical therapist wouldn't even touch me. So she sent me back to my PCP and recommended me to a migraine clinic, which doesn't even really exist anymore. So before I can even be seen by a neurologist, I have to try these drugs. So the first drug was propranolol, which was a blood pressure medicine, which wasn't doing anything. And then the second one was an anti-seizure drug, which I told you about, I mentioned, which was doing a really good job helping with the migraines. For 6 weeks, I haven't had a migraine, and I haven't had a bout of vertigo. So I was really happy. I mean, like I said, I was dealing with being forgetful, so I had to make lists. I had to, be proactive. So, and we were doing a good job with that, I thought. We're getting on top of it. And I was actually getting to a point where I was like, I could be okay with this. So I went in and had my appointment with my eye doctor, thinking, oh, this is good. I'm going to go get my prescription, and then I'll go later on and be able to address that the Topamax is working for my migraines and the vertigo. Well, as I'm telling the eye doctor that I'm dealing with cloudiness in my left eye and that I have floaters in my right, yeah, some of you are going, uh-oh. Well, the cloudiness it has nothing to do with the Topamax. I have been dealing with the possibility of a cataract since last year. And apparently the cataract started to get much worse in March of this year. So I may need cataract surgery in 6 months to a year in my left eye. So we're keeping a close eye on that. But she asked me about, have you had any changes to medication? So I told her that yes, I had been trying new medication for trying to stop migraines. And I told her about the propranolol first, and she's like, oh, that's not an issue. I said, yeah, but that wasn't working. So we tried Topamax. And she's like, why Topamax? And I said, because, and she didn't even really let me finish. I said, she just said, is it working? And I said, yes. And she just kind of bit her tongue, and she proceeds to continue to check my eyes. Well, she's like, I need to send your doctor and I told her, I'm seeing my doctor today about a 6-week follow-up concerning using Topamax, because it is working, it is helping. I didn't even go into detail about the vertigo, because let me tell you, the vertigo, along with the migraine, is just, yeah, it's like having when I'm dealing with a migraine that starts in the morning and I'm dealing with the vertigo, it's like having a condenser from a AC unit on in your head constantly. So I have to deal with that all day. So the fact that she was going to write to my doctor a letter that day telling her to stop the Topamax, I was livid. And I really didn't know why. She just said the arteries in my left eye were narrow. And I guess I just wasn't listening. But as I was livid. When I got to the doctor's, my blood pressure was like 148. I can't even tell you what the bottom was. I was just so livid. Like, you're telling me that you're going to take me off of a medicine that's working, that's helping me. And my doctor's like, yeah, we have to take it off of you because it's causing glaucoma. I'm like, oh, okay. And it's a very bad form. It's called, I gotta get this right, narrow angle glaucoma. So it's not a very good kind of glaucoma. And it's in both eyes. So, and we're hoping that once I get off the Topamax, it can reverse itself somewhat. So I am sad because this was helping. And I've had to do a lot of soul searching and reaching out to God, because there have been, several videos that are going to be made kind of are going to touch on some of these things that I'm going to talk about. Like stealing of joy and losing faith and hope, and you're going to hear terms like that in these videos, embracing for impact moments. And this was another one of those brace for impact moments, because not only, am I sitting here thinking, okay, I have dealt with migraines from the time I was 10 years old. And my mom did not really fully believe that I was having full-on migraines, even though she was a migraine sufferer. And I remember being a kid crying myself to sleep because I was in a lot of pain. And finally somebody believing me that I was truly experiencing this pain. And, the last thing my doctor said when I went in for my physical and was telling her this, she goes, let's try to get you to never have a headache. And again, I have this aneurysm. One of the things is she said, when and if this thing ever goes off, it'll be like the worst headache you've ever experienced. I know what my worst headache is. I've had it. And let me tell you, you do. You wish you weren't here. And that's as nicely as I'm going to put it on YouTube. So the fact that somebody wants to help me never have that kind of experience, I was like, seriously? But she has to try all of these different things before I can even go see a neurologist, a specialist who specializes in migraines. So now that I'm almost off of this wonderful anti-seizure medicine that was helping, but not helping because it's robbing me of my sight, kinda, yes, is, not kinda, is, they're putting me on another high blood pressure medicine. I don't know, I can't pronounce it, but two side effects of it is dizziness and headaches. So I'm not looking forward to that possibility. So I've been kind of going, okay, God, I'm not looking forward to this possibility. And I'm going to be real here, because I had to be real with God. I'm like, okay, I know it's okay to look at the glass half full, okay? I can't use the Topamax because it could take my sight. But if that was my only option, and it was taking away the pain, I would tell my doctor, keep me on it. And I would tell my eye doctor, you can go to Blue Blazes. I would give up my sight. I'm sorry. I know that sounds like I am being a stupid fool to many. And maybe I am. But I would sacrifice my sight so that I would never have another headache. Another migraine. I have been migraine-free for 6 weeks. And I can't tell you how absolutely normal that has felt. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to break down. But that, in and of itself, I would take over being able to see. I'm sorry. Especially with the possibility of the other thing. Yeah. So there's that. But, hey, my glass is half full. So I have hope. I have a referral in. My doctor has a referral in, I should say, to have me see a neurologist at some point in time. And I'm hoping that this other wonderful high blood pressure med that I'm on will yeah, it doesn't have a high percentage of help for migraine sufferers. So I can't say that I have a lot of faith that it's going to help me. But she has to exhaust all of these things. There is another drug out there she could put me on, but it exacerbates Raynaud's syndrome. And Raynaud's is something I have, which is my fingers turn white and they go numb in the summer when it's 80 degrees. And so she doesn't want to put me on that and exacerbate the problem. So that's not a possibility. So this is my last hope before going to see a specialist. Also, my neurosurgeon for the aneurysm no longer is at the hospital I go to. So I am going to be looking for a new neurosurgeon in the area I live in. So it's just, the hits just keep on rolling. And I am trying to find my joy. I am trying to, God still sits on his throne. I have to remind myself of this. God still sits on his throne. And my next MRI isn't due until this December. So hopefully everything will fall into place. And that is my hope. That's one of the things I talk about in my nursing home stuff. I try to give them something to hang on to. Some of those places aren't rays of sunshine either. So try to encourage them and give them something to hang on to. So I'm just doing the very best I can. I am trying not to book gigs for evenings. I'm really, at this point, I don't think I'm going to be doing many gigs for next year at all. I haven't even sent out any. I really feel like God doesn't want me doing any more. I'll book, if I get phone calls or emails, I'll book a few. But I'm not purposefully going out and looking. Because I think he's got another purpose for me. And I just gotta be faithful to do it. I've just gotta be faithful to get these videos out. And just know that somebody's listening, somebody's watching, and they're the right people. Even if it's not, a large calling. It's not a large number of people. That doesn't matter. It's who God is called to find me. So right now I am just trying to get through all of that because I don't want all of that in my meat. So, and it really gums up the blade on the KitchenAid attachment that I have, but I've been doing this for over 20 years because I don't like what goes into ground beef. It is very rare that you will find me buying ground beef in a store. Nope. Just not gonna do it. Try to buy, what is this? This is a top round. Try to buy it on sale, and I use that term loosely. But we stick it in our freezer, and I try to grind it up for Hamburg, and I'll freeze it. This is still semi-frozen too, so because it goes through the grinder a lot better, somewhat frozen. Yeah. So I'm a bit bummed. I've been asking God to help me through this, and I know a lot of you guys are going, you're an idiot. I might be. You can say that for thinking the way that I've been thinking, but again, if it were the only way that were to help me, I think that's the way I would go. But it's not the way I'm going. It's somehow, some way, God is gonna help. Most of these migraines are hormone induced, so I'm hoping that I reach a certain time in my life and they're gonna all go away. So I'm hoping, the insanity will end someday, sooner rather than later. So prayer warriors out there, I could use those prayers. I could use them. So what am I making? Some of you are asking out there. I am going to make an enchilada pasta, and I've actually had this on my menu. I try to make a 2-week menu, and this was on the list for like Monday, and it just never came to fruition. So I made homemade enchilada sauce on Monday, and that's been sitting in the fridge. So it's like a 1-pot pasta meal. So it will come together somewhat quickly once I get the beef ground up. It's just trying to get through the sinew and the fat. Sometimes this is harder to do than and I have friends. I think every cat is under my feet. I should show you what they are. They are begging. Poor little things. And sometimes I do let them have chunks of beef, but I'm in a hurry tonight because it's getting late and I really do want to go to bed at some point tonight, and I don't know. I'm not a spring chicken, I'm more like a fall chicken. I like bedtime. But I'll show you my friends. There's one friend. There's another friend. And there's another friend. We got friends. Jerry. Yeah, say hi. There's Midge. That's Norman. Jericho. Where's your little face? There's your face. Anyways. My floor is dirty, messy, and needs repair. So, anyways. It's been busy day. Our daughter had a sleepover, or not she didn't have a sleepover here. She went over to a friend's house, so we had to go pick her up. And then I had my gig, and our son and my husband had their eye appointments at the same place, so it's like, and it's not near us, so it's like, had to drive down to Concord. We're in the northwest quadrant of the state, so it's like 40 minutes. So it ain't, it's not a hop, skip, and a jump. So, anyways. Woo. Heard a noise. I've been enjoying the quiet too, because when you've got a constant buzzing in your head, it's like, no, you don't want noise. You don't want noise. You like the quiet. And it was something my daughter and I were talking about today. And I'm like, nope. I have enjoyed not having music on, not having fans on, just listening to nothing and the quiet. It has been glorious, and I want to keep it that way. I really do. Right now, my house is nice and quiet and still, for the most part. And I can hear the rooster crowing. But that's about all I hear, except for an occasional big truck or a motorcycle going by. That's about it. But I think that's about it for the updates. So I will have another follow-up on this med, and again, I don't have much. I don't think it's going to do much, especially if it's going to cause headaches and dizziness. But I'm going to let you guys go, and I am going to grind up some meat and make dinner. I hope you guys have a good night. Love you guys. Bye.